Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings, shalom, ashe. It is a beautiful opportunity that I'm profoundly grateful for this evening to be in the company of all of those here virtually. My name is Rami Nashahshibi, and I wanted to first begin by acknowledging how powerful this set of comments were, the conversation was. You know, one of the most profound myths perpetuated about the conflict in our region is somehow that there is an inherent endemic faith tension between our communities. Anyone could tell you, if you were to read the memoirs of people like Wasif Jauhari, the famous Jerusalemite of the early 20th century, could tell you in his memoir about stories of Jews, Muslims, Christians at each other's events, Purim, Eid, Easter. This was a very common, regular interfaith set of activities. So interfaith engagement is nothing new for our region. My grandfather from Ain Kadam, who was a refugee here to the south side of Chicago in the early 1950s, will tell you how in Ain Kadam in the early before World War II, as Polish refugees, Jewish refugees came from across the globe, that they became very close and provided them comfort and would attend each other's events. So the idea and opportunity for us to continue not only to come together, but to shatter the myth that somehow our faith communities are inevitably bound for conflict, and that somehow this conflict is a religious one, is one that we must all continue to debunk in all ways possible. So this is a great opportunity and event to continue to be a part of. Religious traditions at their best are about allowing us to see our narratives in one another. There was a famous funeral where the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Muhammad, was attending while a Jewish funeral procession. He was sitting with his companions, and a Jewish funeral procession was coming by. He stood up out of respect. His companions looked confused at him and said, "Ayuhudiyan ya Rasulullah." It was a Jewish person, O Prophet of God. And he gently but firmly reprimanded all of them, saying, "At laysa nafsa," was that not a human soul? Was that not a human being? Part of every tradition's, when it is teaching us to be at our best, is to see the humanity in one another. And the biggest tragedy of today is that many of our Palestinian narratives and Palestinians across the world lack that basic right to be seen as human beings, whether we are Muslim, Christian, or others. And so this day of solidarity, first and foremost, must lift up the humanity of our traditions. And I'm so proud to be among those that are doing so. Recently, I released with an extraordinary artist by the name of Drea Denur, a CD called, an album called This Love Thing, and our single was called Mama Please. It was dedicated to this principle of being able to see our stories in one another. I think we're going to play that video here. It was just aired recently on BET. The video was dedicated to an extraordinary woman, an African-American police officer out of Buffalo, who stood and intervened in a act of violence herself, risking her entire career and her livelihood. We have called to action around her. Her name is Carriel Horn, trying to pass laws across the country called Carriel's Law. The MC who is rapping on this video is now the youngest councilman in Louisville history. His name is Jacory Arthur, 1200. I'm going to put the link of the video for all of you and encourage you to continue to spread it around, not only to raise the profile of Carriel Horn, but to continue to raise and celebrate art that connects our stories to one another.